Live from the news center of the Sultanate of Oman television, here we present to you tonight's news bulletin. But first, the headlines. Full lockdown between the governorate starts and movement is banned during night period until the 8th of August to curb the spread of the COVID-19 infections. The Ministry of Health reports 12 deaths and 1,067 new cases of COVID-19. And the total deposits in banking sector at the end of May 2020 reached more than 24 billion Omani riyals. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq sends a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Ibrahim Mohammed Sooleh of the Maldives on the occasion of his country's National Day. In order to reduce the spread of coronavirus infection among the society and protect individuals, the implementation of the decision of the Supreme Committee dealing with the coronavirus spread development started this evening and will last until 8th of August by full lockdown between governorates and banned movements at night from 7 p.m. till 6 a.m. Patrols and checkpoints will be intensified during this period. The Ministry of Health announced 1,067 new confirmed cases of COVID-19, which brings the total number registered in the Sultanate to 74,858, including 371 deaths. The Minister of Health stresses that 54,061 cases have been recovered. The United Nations issued a report under the title COVID-19 and the Arab region, an opportunity to build better. The report stated that the Sultanate of Oman is among the most ready Arab countries to combat COVID-19. The report also pointed out that Oman ranking increased in human development and healthcare indicator and the ability to communicate by scoring 0.834 in the Human Development Index as the expenditure in health sector increased the 4.3% of the country's GDP. The report mentioned that the Arab region, with a population of over 436 million, managed to take early and strict measures to maintain the levels of outbreak and mortality rate between the global average at the initial stage of the pandemic. China today reported 34 new confirmed coronavirus cases. The National Health Commission said the total cases reported in the 24 hours through midnight Friday includes 5 people who caught the virus abroad. No additional deaths were reported, leaving China's fatality toll at 4,634. Meanwhile, the pandemic has killed more than 639,981 people worldwide, with more than 15.8 million people infected. The United States has the most deaths with 145,546, followed by Brazil with 85,238, Britain with 45,677, Mexico with 42,645, Italy with 35,097. India began its first human trials of a novel coronavirus vaccine candidate as the world's second most populous country recorded nearly 49,000 new cases. The candidate vaccine, Covaxin, is among nearly 24 that are in human trials around the world. The All India Institute of Medical Sciences, a premier teaching hospital in the capital, New Delhi, is among 12 sites selected by the Indian Council for Medical Research for conducting the 2-phase randomized double-blind placebo-controlled clinical trials of Covaxin. Countries are making giant bets on various vaccine candidates, entering into purchasing agreements with pharmaceutical companies for delivery if and when regulators deem the doses safe and effective. Monsoon floods have swamped villages in India's eastern Bihar and northeastern Assam states, forcing more than 1 million people into makeshift shelters despite the risk of coronavirus pandemic. Rescue workers use boats to reach people trapped in remote villages where many houses have been left underwater. Floods in Assam have killed at least 87 people and displaced more than 2.75 million since May. Floods have also inundated the Kaziranga National Park, home to the world's largest concentration of one-horned rhinoceros, with an estimated 2,500 out of a total population of some 3,000 of the animals. More than 100 animals, including 10 one-horned rhinos, have died. A rhino calf was rescued on July 14th and is being taken care of at an animal rehabilitation center in Kaziranga. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The overall bank deposits by the end of May 2020 exceeded 24 billion Omani Rials, as it increased by 5.7% compared to the same period last year. Private sector deposits in banks increased by 9.3%, reaching over 16 billion Omani Rials by end of May 2020. The breakdown, the private sector deposits showed that individual shares was around 51%, followed by non-financial companies and financial companies with 30.4% and 16.2% respectively. The overall credits by Omani banks increased by 3.3% to reach 26.5 billion Omani Rials by the end of May 2020. Credits to private sector increased by 2.6% to reach over 23 billion Omani Rials by the end of May 2020. Credits acquired by non-financial companies exceeded 47%, followed by personal loans with 44%. Surface fish production exceeded 60% from the total fish production in the Sultanate in 2019. The sardines topped the list of production with more than 47%, and the total quantities of the surface fish that captured last year reached around 350,000 tons. The Governorate of Al-Wusta got the huge production quantities, followed by the Governorate of South Sharqiya. The increase in artisanal fishing last year came due to the increase in local outlets for these kinds of fish. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. Full lockdown between the governorate starts and movement is banned during night period until the 8th of August to curb the spread of COVID-19 infections. The Ministry of Health reports 12 new deaths and 1,067 new cases of COVID-19. And the total deposits in banking sector at the end of May 2020 reached more than 24 billion Omani Rials. And with that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From the entire news team here in the studio, the Sultanate of Oman television, we all are going to stick to the lockdown instructions. So each and everyone has got to take that particular responsibility. Flattening the curve is everyone's responsibility. Please prepare yourself to break down the spread of coronavirus. Good night to everyone.